So today's episode, Shop the Look, and this is something that I've been looking forward to a lot to talk about and share with everyone, because this is also something that we've been building up to with all of the previous episodes. So, Steffen, how does Shop the Look work?
How does it work? Yeah, that's a good question. But you're right that it builds up on a lot of the things we have talked about before. And that is, I think, what is very interesting. It's not just like one piece, it's more about a whole kind of pipeline of a lot of the things we talked about just kind of put together, then to come to that result in the end. Maybe we should first clarify a bit like what shop the look actually means.
Mm-hmm.
So I would describe it as, I mean, if you already look at these pictures here, so usually when we think of buying or selling fashion, then although we might go to a store and buy one t-shirt, but still in the end, we will wear that t-shirt with something else. So we, of course, have then the question in our head, I mean, how does it look on me? How does the whole outfit look like?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can basically replace look with outfit, very much the same thing. So the idea here is you have an image of a person wearing a complete outfit. And now you might wonder, okay, now I want to buy this t-shirt, for example, or those pants together. So how do I find them in the store, or what's their name? Basically, how can I order this?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you can, to some degree, solve that by just tagging your model images manually. We know people do that, but we also know it's a lot of work. So often we don't see that all the model images are actually tagged, just maybe a few, because it just takes a lot of work. So the question is, can we do this more automatically?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer that we will hopefully now present or convince you is that yes, we can do that.
I mean, even if you would tag them, the main challenge here is that that particular item might be out of stock. Maybe it was even a photo of a previous collection of a t-shirt that is still living in this 1 year later, right? So the pants kind of are not available anymore. So tagging stuff manually might not actually be, I mean, feasible work in the first place, but also in the long run might not actually cover for it.
Exactly. So now let's maybe have a look. How does it work? What does it spit out in the end? So I've prepared some images here. So they are from a known collection. However, these images, they are not tagged. So it's really just the photo. We will later also try with other pictures, but let's start with, let's say, the straightforward stuff. So I will now just take the link to that image. And then I've prepared a little demo UI here. And then we just paste in that link. Now it will take a little moment. In the background, there's now some models booting up, so that might not take a little second. And then I will, once we see something, I will also explain what's kind of happening behind the scenes.
Maybe in the meantime, we can also say that shop the look is also something that within wholesale is quite used. I mean, when you want to merchandise your store, you just want to make sure that you buy in like multiple t-shirts, multiple pants and sweatshirts and shirts and so on. And of course, you want to make sure that these together also make sense, that they form outfits. And then you could use some of the marketing like images that I've been photographing to really make sure that you're buying into the right type of products. Or maybe if you have something that you could complement and then really create the outfits, I guess could also be used, well, in multiple ways within wholesale.
And voila, there you go. So it was right on time, actually, when you finished it. Anyway, so what we see here, I can explain that a little bit. So on the left, that is actually the image. I can maybe bring that up so that you see it. So that is the original image.
Mm-hmm.
What you see here also, that is one part we also talked about in the very beginning, I think, of our series here. I mean, we removed the background. Actually, that is a bit what the model also does in order to kind of remove a bit of the distractions. And then you see here on that side, it has also identified now what is generally in that picture. So, I mean, of course, there's a person, but it also identified, generally speaking, there is a navy blue t-shirt in here. And you can see also when I hover, it also even knows kind of where it is. So it identified that region and says, okay, there's a blue t-shirt. It does not yet know necessarily what exactly that t-shirt is, just roughly. And the same here, it sees, okay, there are some green pants in this picture as well. So that is sort of the first step, what is happening. So generally looking at the picture and then figuring out what is in there. And then in the next step, it will now for each of these regions try to find matches in the known collection. So, I mean, there's the whole collection of all the t-shirts for that brand that is available. And then it basically goes through the t-shirts because it knows, okay, there's some blue t-shirt I need to find. And then it basically matches them. And then it returns the best match. So that's sort of what we talked about in the similarity search episode. And then it does the same thing for the pants as well. And then, well, here you see the result. So here it actually identified the exact t-shirt as we see. And I mean, you see that down here, that is actually the variant name of that t-shirt. And then it also found some pants. The pants, we can actually see it's not exactly the same pants, which can happen either if they are actually not in the actual collection, or of course it could also happen if you combine that with stock, which we also do. So if they're out of stock, that also does not return the exact ones. I can show after also that what you can do in that case. So if you're basically out of stock, but maybe let's first try another example just to show that also with an image where you have actually the complete person. So because that works the same way. So I mean, it's not really bound to any kind of particular kind of model shot. So generally it works with any kind of person in a picture. Mm-hmm. And after that, we will actually go to some bit more freestyle pictures also to show that.
I mean, I noticed that it takes a little bit of a while. I guess in production mode, these calculations would be done on an interval basis from time to time to kind of extract the stuff, and not when someone actually is pressing the item. So from a UX perspective, this would feel instant when in production, right?
Exactly. Okay, maybe while it's loading, I can actually show you that. So, I mean, here we have more of an overview of the whole collection, and this is actually what we did. So for each of these items, you see, I mean, now I opened this item and you see what we have here, shop the look. Here you see actually the same thing, essentially. So it has identified them. And you see, I mean, that now happened actually quite fast. And that is because here already there was a lot of pre-processing done. So this is basically how it then would also work in your application or on the website, etc. And then, I mean, now that we're here already, I can also show that. So here, for example, you see, okay, that's the sweatshirt. However, if I have this now, we see then also alternatives that it has identified. So items that are somewhat, or the next best similar ones, basically. Which means if now the exact match wouldn't be in stock, for example, then you could fall back to, well, any of these. You see also there's a little number. The number is the score. The higher, the more similar it is. And then you would basically just kind of go down that list. And that's same for all the other items. So I mean, also here you have all alternative jeans, etc.
I think jeans are a little bit special in this regard, right? Because it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly the same jeans. I mean, as long as they kind of look the same as in the outfit, it could be slight variations, as long as it's like slightly, in this case, brighter colored jeans. Then I guess almost any jeans would actually work.
Yeah, it's also, I mean, if you think about it, like jeans are probably one of the hardest things to identify because they are generally very similar in how they look, unless you have, I mean, in this case, there's a bit of like distress features here. I mean, these kind of things that, of course, helps it to find the exact one. If it's just a plain regular blue jeans, yeah, there are probably 10 that are very, very like that. All right, let's go back. And yeah, also that worked. So here also we see, which we didn't have before because the image was only until here, but here we also have shoes. Unfortunately, that's apparently the only pack shot that we have. But it's, yeah, you can see it's shoes in that direction. With shoes, it can sometimes be that actually, I mean, it depends on the brand, of course. If you only have generally a few pairs of shoes, then it will still try to find the next best one. Sometimes the models, they might wear shoes that you actually don't sell. So that's why there's a bit more mismatch sometimes. But otherwise, you see, sweatshirt looks pretty much the same, pants. So now I promise to try something a bit more special. Let's take this one. This one is interesting because it is it's a layered outfit. So, and that is actually where it becomes a bit more tricky. That's the part where we spend a lot of the work, I would say, to figure out this whole pipeline. Because here it's still a bit straightforward. As I said, you know the region, and then you can imagine, we do somewhat similarity matching as we showed, and that will usually work out quite okay. But where it really becomes tricky is the next case. So just need to wait a moment. Because in that picture, he's wearing a jacket on top of a sweatshirt. And then, of course, for us, we can still, if we look at it, we see the sweatshirt. But now for the algorithm, because there's just a small stripe visible, and now it has to kind of extrapolate, okay, that's the whole sweatshirt. That's where it becomes a bit tricky. There we go. All right. So we see here it gets a bit lost, but you see it actually identified both. So it says gray t-shirt, and then behind it also says jacket. So here it already understood, okay, here in this region, there are two items. So, and here it says t-shirt, and that's the thing. Of course, it can, what's under here, of course, it can only assume it's not visible. So it can be a t-shirt. It could also be a long sleeve. We can kind of, I think, conceptually derive, okay, if it's a warm jacket, it's probably not just a t-shirt. It's more likely that's actually some long sleeve. Of course, but visually, there is no truth, so to say. So that's why it went for the t-shirt, and then some cargo pants.
But if there would be, if there would be any particular features of the sweatshirt or t-shirt, that would also be possible to pick up, right?
Yeah.
So they'd match.
Exactly. If there would be a print, then of course it helps it to find the exact piece. Any kind of like really distinct feature. Here cargo pants usually work well also because they have these, well, the pockets. So that helps to match the exact one. And if there would be a print, of course, that helps as well.
But this is quite amazing. Just by quickly looking at it, it really looks as if these would be the products on him. So I think it's quite incredible.
Yeah, and now it gets even better. So so far it was quite straightforward. And also these model images, they are actually from the same brand. So, which also means that usually these items, they are actually part of the collection. So now the question is, can we even go one step further? And so now, I'm taking a stock photo website. You could also imagine, that simply being Instagram. Just I don't use Instagram because of copyright, etc., etc. But generally,
or if you just taken a picture on the street of someone you liked, or if you had like an outfit wearing on at some kind of party way back a couple of years ago, and you just want to see if you can find something similar, right? So any kind of image from anywhere.
Exactly. You see, you can imagine this on any kind of social media post or something. Your favorite fashion influencer. So let's, for example, take this picture here. And paste that in.
Of course, we should remind people again, this is a demo app, right? So in the actual application, it could be enough by just taking your phone onto a camera or sending it to a service. There could be multiple ways of making this possible to upload the content that you like, or just drag and drop it or something like that.
Exactly. Of course, you don't have to paste in some link. You could just photo upload or even, I don't know, take it directly from Instagram or something. All right, but here we go. So that is the person. Again, we removed the background. and then it identified. So there is the beanie, there is the sweater, and the shorts, and then we actually get something that looks pretty close, I would say. Because I mean, obviously, it's a bit more unlikely now, of course, that this sweatshirt is actually in the current collection.
Mhm.
But yet, it could, I think, figure out some pretty good alternative that goes in the same direction. Also, there's a beanie that somewhat works like that, and the shorts. So works
But
also
just
the same way.
the products, the three products that we're now recommending, when you say they're part of the collection, these are products that are currently being made available on our in-store endless aisle solution in the Jack and Jones stores, right?
Exactly. I mean, that is basically the items you could currently buy. Yeah,
Cool.
exactly. I just for fun, we can maybe try some more. I think that one tried before. It's quite fun because it's even a more dynamic pose. So I think
Yeah,
I mean
it's also
one
from the side, even.
exactly. So I just need to take that. So I think that's the important part here. To show that it doesn't have to be this really straight model image. Well, I think that it becomes very powerful if it can be much more dynamic input as well.
Steffen, we don't see a lot of shop to look functionalities on a traditional or any almost web shops. Do you have any idea why? Maybe explain this and we can have that discussion.
Yeah, I mean, what we can see here, same thing, but I think what's really interesting is also, again, that it could identify here already all the different parts. Sunglasses. Unfortunately, we did not get a match for sunglasses, but you can imagine if there would be, maybe there are none. I don't know actually. That it would even be able to identify accessories like that. So even if there would be maybe like a backpack or something back, yeah, that would also work. And then raincoat. So actually interesting, there seems to be a raincoat. So maybe for the Swedish summer. Actually, the Swedish summer is quite nice. But so it matched the raincoat, gray pants, and we also get some sneakers. So again, of course, these exact items are very unlikely to be in that collection, but I think it matched them quite
But I
well.
mean, gray pants, it actually does look very similar, right? So it's not
Yeah.
just any kind of gray pants, and I mean, it's not even from the correct angle, so to say, or perspective. So that's even more amazing. Another thing that I think is worthwhile just mentioning again, you mentioned briefly, but you can now see here in this picture that the background is being removed, so that we can really focus on the other features, I guess. Although it did not remove the bicycle, but I guess the AI model figured out like there's no point in trying to map the bicycle to some kind of fashion item. Or I mean, how did that figure out that the bikes or features of the bicycle is not a fashion item?
Because these are generally two different models. And that's the interesting part here. There are actually so many different things that are happening at the same time. But the model that removes the background is not exactly trained just on figuring out the fashion items. It's more sort of what is the main subject, especially what is the main person in the image, and then it removes the rest. So it does not think in terms of fashion items necessarily. And I think that's also good. I mean, if it would have removed the bike, that would look a bit strange. I mean, where's the person even sitting? So it's more about figuring out the main subject generally. And then this here, what we see, the labels, that's a different type of model. But that is of course much more about really just figuring out the fashion pieces, the individual items. Yeah.
I mean, there's two items here, like socks as well as the polo white sweatshirt that it kind of did not identify. Is there any reason why it failed on that one?
Hard to answer. I would have to look into the exact data, what's behind if it maybe spotted it, but it's basically under a certain confidence threshold. So that it sometimes says, okay, yeah, maybe, but I'm not 100% sure, so maybe better skip it. But then,
Yeah,
of
because
course, I
that's
mean, it's,
also, I'm sorry for interrupting. That is also actually something during the development of the shop to look. It's sometimes better to not make an error, like intentionally try to not make the error, right? To have a higher degree of limit, because if you start seeing stuff that is definitely not part of the model that you just are looking at,
Yeah.
you will not be confident about the recommendations in general.
Exactly, that's the thing. I mean, it depends on the use case. Sometimes it's better to just show the things you're really sure about. Otherwise, it just might feel a bit, quotes, dumb, and that might then actually have a worse effect. So that's, I think, here you would opt more for, okay, if it's above a certain confidence, then we show it. Otherwise, maybe better say nothing. And maybe that's what happened here in this case, because it also blends in. I mean, we see, I think the raincoat here is white inside as well. Maybe because it blended in each other a bit, was a bit unsure. I don't know. Yeah. But then you had another question. Why we don't see that much? I would presume the answer is because it's hard. As I said, we spent quite some time to get this right. And even the model, I mean, what I'm presenting today is not even our latest yet. So we are still tweaking it, because especially these kind of cases that you just commented on, I mean, this is really where it becomes hard to identify these overlapping things. And especially if it would now be a t-shirt with a print and you really want to have that t-shirt, then of course you want to find it. But yeah, it's because you have to combine so many different pieces together. And then there's a lot of time. I mean, we tried a lot of different approaches and using all the different parts in different ways until we found the one that actually works in scale. And there's simply a lot of tweaking also you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, we just recently kind of made it available, this feature, so to say. It is the first version, let's say, a minimum viable product for now. So 1 year from now, I would assume that we will have done quite some improvements, both in terms of performance and reliability.
I think so. I mean, to maybe already tease a little bit, I mean, the current one we're training, I think we are reaching around 90% of overall matching quality, I mean, accuracy, let's say it like that, which includes especially, and because that's where it becomes hard. I mean, also these little things. I mean, all the accessories and all these, I mean, as I said, I mean, the tricky cases as well. If you just do I mean, these kind of things here, I mean, especially one where the model looks straight into the camera and you don't have any background and the perspective is exactly flat. Because here, I mean, there is not much difference between this t-shirt and the actual pack shot. I mean, they're nearly the same. So of course that is much, much easier to match than, I mean, something like this already. And yeah, I mean, this year, maybe let's do that as the last one, because I think here it's because it's also even more in kind of motion.
But I mean, it is exciting. It opens up for obviously the obvious cases that you just are about to buy a product, you just add it to the basket, and then, by the way, here's the complete look. But then, as we were here, like let customers be able to discover things that is not necessarily based on the model shots or the data provided by the brand. I think opens up for a lot of different applications. And I mean, obviously we have a couple of things that we want to pursue, but the fact that we're also opening up these services to our brands, to our customers, so that they can pursue applications that they would like, I think will be very interesting to see how and what type of solutions that we will be able to enable going forward.
Yeah. I mean, generally you can do potentially a lot of more things than just what we just demoed. And yes, I mean, essentially we are delivering the data and you can combine it and use it in different ways. I mean, one thing I think where we heard one particular use case, what could also be interesting is sort of the reverse. So sometimes, especially if you're preparing maybe a presentation for a new collection or something, you might also want to know exactly the opposite. So you want to know, okay, I have this pack shot. Do we have any model images with that pack shot inside? So the other way around, which is pretty much the same algorithm. So also that you could do, of course.
Exactly. I think that came from one of our customers that wanted to in their CMS create like a landing page, and this digital manager got the job of here's some packages we want to promote, find inspirational content to it, and then here's the folder with all the photos that the photographer took. Good luck. And then he had to basically go through one by one. So I guess yeah, there's a lot of productivity gains that could also be unlocked with this.
Exactly, I think so too. And yeah, human last result also again, I think that's actually pretty close. So white hoodie, cargo pants, some sneakers, and this is what we get here as well.
Amazing. Super exciting. Yeah, shall we conclude there, or is there anything else to add?
I think from my side, I have shown everything I have prepared. If you have any question, of course, happy to help, but that's it from my side.
Yeah. Cool. No, this was a very great demo, Steffen. Thank you so much. And super excited about making some follow-up sessions about this topic as we improve it.
Absolutely.
All right. See you next time.
See you. Bye-bye.